Hey there friends and fans, Overly Positive Fanboy here, and today I'm giving you my initial impressions on Star Wars The Bad Batch Episode 1, Aftermath. As someone who grew up with the Clone Wars, I've been looking forward to this ever since it was announced. How did I find it? Well, keep watching and find out. So, right out of the gate, this episode begins with a classic Clone Wars battle, only for things to take a sharp turn once Order 66 has been executed. Here it's established that the Bad Batch are mostly immune to the Order, which is an interesting notion and allows the Bad Batch to be audience surrogates for any kids getting their introduction to the franchise through this show. Speaking of the franchise, this bit also connects to the Star Wars Rebels cartoon by showing us how Kanan and Jarrus survived the end of the war. Granted, this show's depiction of that moment blatantly contradicts the Kanan comics version of events, which is a shame, but I don't mind too much. While I love the comics take, where he's attacked during a peaceful campfire moment, the show's version is pretty tense, as the Bad Batch are just as confused as to what's going on as Kanan is, and just want to help him, yet Kanan's understandably unwilling to trust them. Plus, having Hunter report that Kanan died helps create an extra reason as to why he was never found until Rebels. Besides, though it is annoying that they overwrote the comic version, just imagine how cool this will be to kids who are introduced to the franchise through the Rebels cartoon. So, we already have a pretty bleak opening, and the rest of the episode is even darker. We get to see the rise of the Empire in its earliest days, which is something I've been wanting Star Wars to explore for ages now, and it's horrifying to behold. After all the work that the Clone Wars cartoon had put into humanizing the clones and showcasing their individual personalities, here they have been basically transformed into stormtroopers, and it's completely unnerving to watch. They almost never take their helmets off and don't convey any personality outside of military grunt. It really conveys that even in Kamino, which should be a safe home for all the clones, nowhere is safe for the Bad Batch. We also get a moment acknowledging how the clone army is soon going to be replaced by the stormtroopers, and I love it. Especially how the Kaminoans object to this by pointing out that the clones would be much more competent than ordinary military recruits. Guess they foretold the stormtroopers' horrible aim. Something that adds to the feeling of being unsafe is Crosshair, the Bad Batch's sniper. Throughout the episode he's shown being a bit more susceptible to Order 66 than the other four, and this ultimately results in him betraying the others and wholeheartedly joining the Empire. While this twist isn't hard to guess, what did surprise me was that his betrayal is presented as a more explicit form of brainwashing. When it's discovered that his control chip is working at a weaker level than the normal clones, Tarkin has the signal amplified, meaning that Crosshair has essentially become an even more blatant Winter Soldier XP than the clones have already become. But as one member leaves, another joins in the form of Omega. Omega is this young girl who also turns out to be an enhanced clone. Why she was created is unknown, what her enhancements are is unknown too. What is clear is that her presence will be able to allow some sliver of childlike wonder and hope in this show, and I am all for it. I don't really have much else to add, so I'm just going to say some quick extra stuff now. I love the opening bit where the Clone Wars logo burns away to reveal the Bad Batch one underneath. It's so haunting and sets the mood well. I wonder if it's a premiere episode only deal. It's cool seeing Saw Gerrera again, especially how he pretty much immediately made himself a problem for the Empire. Tarkin proves to be just as slimy and villainous as ever, and I hope he's a constant presence in this season. The animation is still just as gorgeous as ever. So, those are my initial impressions of the Bad Batch premiere. Obviously I loved it, and I'm greatly looking forward to seeing where the story goes from here. If you're new here, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all the YouTubey things that will keep you updated while I discuss the future episodes in these coming weeks.